right now, Seattle's Achilles heel is defensively. They've added 3 players. They added Snacks Harrison. They traded for Carlos Dunlap, and they also traded earlier for Jamal Adams. And their defense really looks porous. So Buffalo, to me, is in firm control of the AFC East, which is something we haven't been able to say in over 2 decades. But Josh Allen had a couple of poor weeks, but boy, yesterday he played flawlessly.
All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike, now let's stay in the AFC East. And it seems like it never is a week that goes by when you're on our show we're not talking about this particular quarterback in Sam Darnold. How valuable would it be for Sam Darnold in a trade? What's that value?
Well, it depends. Is the other GM from USC or not? I mean, we know the premium that you guys put on, the loyalty you guys have. So, but in all seriousness, what's disappointing is tonight, presumably, the Jets will have Denzel Mims, Jamison Crowder, and Perryman for the first time. Wouldn't you love to see Sam Darnold with those weapons to see what he can do? And that's why I think when you look at what happened with Josh Rosen when he went from Arizona to Miami a year ago for a second-round pick, I think that's about the compensation, which is, he has fallen quite a bit. But you would just say, what can you look at in the NFL that he's put together in consecutive weeks where he's played at a really high level? We just talked about Josh Allen's development. Lamar Jackson's won an MVP, and Sam Darnold just hasn't done it. Now, with that said, he's young, he's high character, he's immensely talented. So there's so many teams that will need quarterbacks. I think a second-round pick will be fair.
Let me ask you this question, though, Mike, as a former general manager and having to have gone into these situations on the what if. What if you trade Sam Darnold for a 2, and let's say he goes to Pittsburgh, for instance, and Ben retires in a year, and then all of a sudden Sam Darnold looks like the second coming? How much pressure would that be on you as a general manager?
Yeah, that's something you really don't want to have happen is you got to correctly evaluate your outdoor. And it's a really good point, Key. We see that a lot where quarterbacks change teams and then they flourish. Look at Drew Brees, right? He was somewhat of a disappointment in San Diego. He goes to New Orleans, Hall of Fame career. And we see that a lot around the league. Jimmy Garoppolo has gone on to take a team to the Super Bowl in San Francisco despite his struggles this year. So absolutely, you don't want to see a young quarterback leave your program and then go flourish someplace else. And I'm sure when Tennessee lost Mariota to the Raiders, I'm sure that was in their back of their mind. So I think if I'm the Jets and I have the first pick, I take Trevor Lawrence and I have to move on from Sam Darnold.
Mike, the Chargers continue to be the Chargers every single weekend. It's painful to watch. But how impressed were you by Justin Herbert?
Jay, it's the same guy I've been talking about for 2 years. He's why I had him at the very top of the draft. He's big, he's strong, he's tough, he's smart. People don't realize he looks like Ben Roethlisberger. When you see him in person, he is a big man who's really fast, incredibly accurate. Look, I thought in that last play, I thought they should have won the game. I thought he had enough control in the back of the end zone. That's pro football, though, guys. The margins are that small. And if I'm the Chargers next year, I kick everybody else out of the building. They're only allowed to draft offensive linemen. If I'm the owner, if I'm the Spanos family, I know I got something special. I draft 7, 8, 9 offensive linemen. I solidify that position for years to come because if I can protect Justin Herbert with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, I am set. So the only thing I'd be worried about is he's a collision player. He's taken some big hits already. And for him to have sustainability, he's going to have to learn how to protect himself.
You're talking about the Chargers next year. How about the Chargers next week? It's going to be Justin Herbert and the Chargers against Tua and the Dolphins. Drafted back-to-back, Tua 5, Herbert 6, and they'll be on the same field in 6 days. Can't wait to see what the early returns are. Mike, thanks for joining us this morning.
All right, thanks. I was prepared to talk about point guards with Jay Will, by the way. If we're doing receivers with Key, I'm ready for point guards with Jay Will.
Don't worry, Mike. December is right around the corner. That's when the NBA season starts. We'll bring you on for some breakdowns, man.
I'll be ready.
And just in case, the draft is 9 days away, so we'll have Mike on standby for that. I know you'll be a part of the...
Talking about point guards, Michael trade Stephen Curry for A 3rd-round pick if you can get it.
Oh, man. You couldn't help yourself with that one.
The sports nerd has to remind you 2 rounds in the NBA draft.
I know.
I'm
talking
sorry.
I'm talking about.
I didn't say it.
I'm talking about a 3rd-round pick in football, not
gotcha.
in basketball.
Gotcha.
I get it.
Okay. Keyshawn J. Will Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. Quoting home insurance just got easier with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. Quote and buy all online at Progressive.com. Let's go from A to Z and then a little college football.
From Atlantic City to Las Vegas and every sports book in between. From
Fox.com for all the ways to watch. Let's start with the fella's favorite, a little NASCAR. Chase Elliott becoming the 3rd youngest NASCAR champion. His dad, if that surname means